Alright, I think I've got a game plan for mounting up this tank. L bracket, vertical right here, then bend it out here, and weld in a big tab plate here. 2 3/8 holes right here. Weld in a plate with a nut welded to that. And I've got some rubber washer material I can use for a buffer. There's not really any space to put a plate at the bottom without being in the way with getting stuff in and out. I think with those 4 points should be fine. The more I look at it though, I don't have a lot of space for ignition switch. I really want that ignition switch on my right side. Now that's going to be in the way past this beam here. So what I may be doing is cutting about 1 inch off the back here, weld in a plate there, push it up a little bit. But the more I push it up, the more it really bulges at the sides past the frame. So I'm contemplating cutting this down the center, this tank, and taking 1 inch out of the center of it. Bring it in a little bit. I did remember that the iron head has 2 vent lines instead of 1. So I am going to have to weld in some sort of like 5/16 or, piece of tubing. I could probably take a piece off of, this guy here, the old iron head tank. Just cut that out. That tank was fucked up anyways. Weld that in either at the side or at the top. I'd rather do it at the top, but I may not have the clearance. Yeah, I might. I don't know. I don't want it to bend or be pushing on it either though. But those are things that I got to do still. Alright, I cut this piece out of the old oil tank. Just a vent line, about 5/16. And the chrome is already messed up right here. So I'm just going to drill that out, put it there, weld up around it. Actually probably have it going down like that as high up as I can. Keep it up. I could drill a hole, feed this through the inside, weld it there, but then I would be welding around whatever they used. I don't know. Looks like just a simple weld, but I think it's going to be better to drill a hole, put this here, and then weld around this outer side for better seal. I really contemplated cutting about 1.5 inches out of the center of this, but I don't think I'm going to, because I'm worried about weight, having the mounting points here. I mean, I could always weld a plate on the bottom, but I'm worried about hitting a pothole or something and this thing cracking at those welds and dripping oil all down the back tire. So, and it would just be for looks. It fits, it looks okay this size, but it would be a lot cooler if it was a little bit more narrow. And the probability of this weld cracking, this thing being full heat, hitting a pothole and cracking that weld, it's just not worth it. I'm just going to keep it this size. But got this figured out where I'm going to cut it, put a plate on, weld that, and that should give me room to have my key ignition on my right hand side. But I'll bring it back when I get all that done. I'm going to share this with you guys. I got these at Ace Hardware. They were $1.19 a piece. And I'm not sure exactly what they're called. Just some kind of rubber stopper material. But you can drill these out super easy. I'm just using a 3/8 bit. Let's see. Not a big deal at all. The material doesn't really grab, it kind of just breaks apart. When I get too deep, I just kind of run it in reverse a good bit. You can take that and slice it, with a bandsaw or something, or hell, you could probably use a handsaw, a little hacksaw, whatever, fine tooth. Cut that to whatever size you want. I'm going to use that on my oil tank to mount. But figured I'd share that. Alright guys, the oil tank is finally finished. I still need to weld in the bungs on the fuel tank. That was a mid-90s soft tail oil tank. Cut the corner off there, cut the back of it off so I have clearance for my key switch, chain clearance here. I welded in that vent line in the front there. I drilled in the 2 3/8 holes here, made these tabs for the back, and then, you know, made tabs that weld to the oil tank. And I welded a plate with a nut on top of the oil tank. Those 2 pieces of square stock, welded those in there in case I want to add any kind of electrical components. Just drill into that square stock to mount it. Everywhere that I welded, I used brushed aluminum, high heat engine ceramic paint. And you can tell, but it looks good with the chrome. Here you can really see it stands out, but I'm gonna use some steel wool or something to kind of round that square. Smooth that out a little bit. It's a nice dent on my gas tank. Put some Bondo in there. But now my plan is to slap the engine in there, put the forks back on, put the wheels back on, get it to where I can roll it around and move it around a little bit easier. Put the exhaust on it so I can get those tabs and stuff welded in. But there's a little update where we're at. All right, thank you everybody.